Good cosmic morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time it is, wherever you are in this never beginning nor ending now moment in the cosmos. This is Rocken, Larry Locken, co-host of Pleiadian Late Night Talk. I'm coming to you from the coast of Oregon, North America, United States. 9 hours in a direct line of host from me is my co-host, Ravishing Raquel Toombs. Before we go to our guest that we have on tonight, which should be really interesting. So I just wanted to ask Raquel, how are you doing? How are you doing, hon? How's everything in Vancouver right now?
I'm doing good. It's the energy's been very high, but really quite lovely. It's I think a lot of us have done a lot of the purging out the old, so these high frequencies are a little bit easier for us to take as opposed to, like, 4.5 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to the past few summers at this time, right? I mean, it's gotten a little easier, but this summer has been a lot better. I'd like to welcome our guest, actually. This is a gentleman that Raquel and I have both been friends with on Facebook for a few years now. His name is Jeffrey Carroll. His spiritual name is Jersey Moon, and I really find that interesting because once you get a chance to hear this individual talk, it really does resonate with him. He comes from Saddlebrook, New Jersey, currently resides in Scottsdale, Arizona. I won't say how old he is. He's only 2 years older than me, though. So that's doing good. And I've got the body of an 80-year-old. So Jeff, how are you, my friend? It's good to have you on the show. And there's so much that I want you to go over that I'd like you to start from the beginning as a kid with your issues. And how, just Raquel and I will definitely not hesitate to interrupt if we have a question, but just tell us how it all started and tell us a little bit about your.
Sure. Well, first, I'd like to thank you for having me on, Raquel. Thank you very much, and it's great being on with you guys. It's been, many years on Facebook, and, Bridget, I remember when she started as well. We all started pretty much 2012-ish, even though we've all had our gifts from an early age. I remember starting at 15, astral projecting onto other planets. I don't want to breach anyone's reality, but I think we're okay on this show, right, Larry?
Breach mine because I'm a channel and everything, but I've been a big fan of astral traveling, and I don't astral travel, and I'm a big fan of people that really have. Yeah, if you wanted to go into that, go for it. Especially.
Well, I was just going to mention real quick, I started that around 15 years old, and I moved into some candle magic around my 18 to 20. I received my first tarot deck probably around 18, and second tarot deck, runes at such an early age. And, my true awakening occurred probably 6 years ago when I got a call from my doctor saying, "Hey, you're going to die," because I was drinking very heavily. And I'm 6 years sober now, hence my 6 year self-mastery path as well. I pretty much left the corporate business world because this is my path. And my path has been a long, gruesome one, that's for sure. And we on this path know how difficult that shadow work is when we get into that shamanistic rituals and go pretty deep within ourselves to eliminate anything that we fear or ego based. It's wild. I mean, there's a blessing in disguise in every breath. I started with Q-Rock, cultivation energy system, healing energy, which is a high level yoga kundalini energy system through the Tibetan monks. And in that very week, I also hosted a archangel party, and I had five archangels here for 5 nights, 5 days, which was absolutely glorious. And my business partner with Energy Rocks actually witnessed many things, including golden crosses on my walls. And that was quite interesting. And then I've done, of course, all my Reiki. My Reiki master, he hosted a group where we did healing on Facebook for months on end. And throughout those months of my Reiki 1, 2, 3, 4 master level, I created my own elemental healing, because throughout these years of self-mastery, I studied many philosophies. I mean, my intuition was getting pulled in so many directions. It was wild.
If I could just stop you for a second here, and because Raquel and I had talked about this on the last show, and I was trying to, because I couldn't explain. It was hard for me to explain it in words, and I was trying to get her to explain. Could you explain to everybody out there who doesn't know what a Kundalini is? Just something simple like that. Can you explain what the Kundalini is?
Well,
go on.
It's not the easiest thing to explain without experiencing it.
No, I understand. You can use the word chakras and stuff like that, but
okay,
as best as you can.
Well, we all know our basic 7 chakra system. There's actually 13 that we are currently running right now with the new crystalline grid. But as far as your Kundalini goes, it starts with the base of your spine, and it almost feels like it's 2 snakes uniting as one, coming up through your spine, the back of your spine. And if it reaches all the way to the top, there is something called within your thymus gland, a nectar of the gods. And if you reach that, and that really only occurs through certain levels of ascension, it usually takes a partner to create that nectar. And how it tastes is a very sweet sense in the back of your throat. That's when it's fully awakened. It's also very difficult because it's very powerful, and most people get confused by it because they really don't understand what's happening. And it's kind of like receiving your wings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've never heard it quite explained that thoroughly. Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of trippy.
That makes sense to me. I kind of equate it as, it awakens, and then we climb the ladder. We climb the ladder, 33 rungs, the vertebrae, the spine, our whole energy because Kundalini is our life force, is our energy, the essence of who we are. For me, it happened very spontaneously and very quickly. The awakening, and then I think the Kundalini awakening, and then I think after that you pretty quickly learn to master your energy, and that's the fun part. The scary part is when it first happens spontaneously and you have no idea what's happening. But after that, it's quite amazing, because now you're very much aware of yourself as an energetic being. You're very much aware of your chakras, your energy centers, and you're able to now really feel them and play around with them and move the energy from one area to another and merge with others and send that energy out. So it's quite awesome. It can be scary in the beginning, but it's quite awesome.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And it is a complete merging of your own soul. It's your masculine and feminine energies uniting as one divine counterpart, so to speak. So yes, absolutely. And you can tap in to your creative energy very easily through uh, your Kundalini once you get your balance going 100% on a regular basis and remain grounded. Um, and of course, you know, you have to jump when you ascend, you have to descend. You know, it's the ebb and flow, up, down, law of attraction, cause and effect, that type of scenarios.
Did you find your eating habits had changed? Raquel and I talk a lot about this when you awoke, and did you find like that you wanted less meat or less dairy and more vegetables and things like that, lighter foods? Did you find yourself craving those kind of things more and more instead of, you know, maybe a heavier diet?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of things changed in my eating habits. It's weird because each time I seem to be going through the same thing around November through the holidays every year for 6 years. And it's kind of strange because it really hits hard. And it's like I'm almost feeding off of the light. Does that make sense? Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Kundalini was explained well enough for everyone. Raquel did an amazing example of exactly how it is.
Yeah, you guys did an amazing job together describing it. I think that was a perfect combination flow. Before we go forward, though, I wanted to ask you, Jeff, like, you know, when you were getting burnt out, you know, when you were starting to awaken, get tired of your, you know, corporate career you had and all of that, was it a point where, okay, you were starting to awaken, and then did it just get to a point where, man, you just couldn't do it anymore, period? Was it a kind of a slow process, a quick process? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it was almost instant. You know, you lose a lot of friends, especially when I quit drinking. You know,
yeah, and awaken at the same time, that don't help.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a quick awakening for sure. It was quite magical, and you know, each and every breath I take is just, you find beauty and magic in everything, and that's truly what it's all about. You know, is love, truth, and beauty in everything.
There is, you know, and Raquel and I talk a lot about crystals on this show, you know, and she does a lot of posts about crystals. You were speaking to me about crystals on the pre-show a little bit. What is some of the work that you do with crystals, or that you're interested in doing with crystals? And do you have the same philosophy that Raquel and I have, that crystals are alive beings? They're just ascended beings.
Yes, I agree 100%. Crystals, I love them. I have many of them. I do sell some. I do make some packages for specific people that request them. A lot of yoga, fitness people, singers, they all seem to love certain crystals. I love to program them, and yes, they all have their own individual entities within them. I like to, by candlelight, we'll look into crystals, and I'll see many things. Just like mirror work or candle gazing, it's all the same. I love crystals. I love working with them. When I was apparently in Atlantis, I was a crystal healer, 9 times Atlantean. And of course, I have my Pleiadian guides. I've hit with Syrian. I've hit with the Orion Council is probably one that is around me for some reason, because I am currently a guardian of the veil. Apparently, I had a vision where I went to the veil just out of curiosity, and the veil. There's 4 guardians of the veil, and one really, they're very gigantic beings. and I grew to his size and shocked him. And all of a sudden, not only was he shocked, there was an Egyptian god that came through that I've witnessed before. And for some reason, he's skipping out of my mind in a moment. He'll come to me, though. Through some of the ascensions and awakenings for people that I've worked with, Thoth actually scribes and observes my work. And I see him in the visions. And this is where I don't want to breach people's reality. But here we go into multi-dimensional beings, as we all are.
Breach it, brother, breach it.
Well, I mean, you know, we're stardust. We are one. I mean, period. You know, you could take whatever path you choose, whatever cultural belief or religion or this and that. All paths lead to one. And there is only one answer in the end. And that's you and source and whoever you believe that's going to judge you, because nobody else is judging you. And I don't like to put labels on anything because it limits our mind. There is no box. And that's something that I strongly believe in, that we are capable of anything that we put our mind to, as long as it comes from heart space.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think you just hit on one of the biggest things that bothers me in the whole world, is that putting things in a box, right? Let's say that you wanted to make a decision, right? And you knew it was the right decision, but you weren't going to make that decision because your religious doctrine told you not to. Your guru told you not to. Whoever, your whatever, somebody else outside you told you, no, that's not right. That's not the way to do it. And because this is what this says, I can't do that, even though my heart wants to. And you see so many people trapped into that, and it almost makes them look ugly. I hate to say, I feel sorry for them, but how could you ever let that? I understand not being walked over, but if you can't have an open mind in every now moment, second you're in, I mean, it drives me up the wall. Well, this is this, so it must be true. I mean, it's something I don't resonate with, and it really bothers me. And it's kind of hurtful that people are that way, you know, to be honest. Not now that I'm older, but, you know, when I was younger, I think back to people that were that way, and it was, you know, pretty hurtful, but I guess they didn't know any better either, but still, it doesn't make it any easier.
That's very true. You know, a lot of people in society, they'll, well, I don't want to call them sheeple, but they are. They don't have an open mind, and they really should, you know, because there's so much out there within ourselves that has been lost and forgotten. Ancestral wisdom, ancestral knowledge that is meant for us. We're all healers. We're all light beings, you know. I literally see souls right through my eyes. Like, there are no layers. My soul sees souls, and I'm very blessed to have that gift currently from my awakening. Very empathetic years ago. I was a natural counselor, as we all are. I've always helped people, but now I understand, and I have the wisdom and knowledge behind it to truly assist those, because I'm not here to change anyone. I want to enlighten them, because each and every one of us have our own path, our own journey, that, you know, our own soul mission that we signed up for at birth, soul contract. So you guys feel me on that?
Yeah, totally. I just think that even though we're all on the same path, we all have very unique experiences. And for me, I've had a lot of people come to me and ask me, you know, well, this is what I experienced. What is this? What does it mean? And I think it's kind of just it's not our job to tell anybody else what they're experiencing, but to lead them back to their own soul, right? So just to be me, I mean, my role here basically is just for, you know, support. Basically it's full-time transformation of myself, physically as well. But as far as interacting with other people, I just kind of like ground crew support. That's my role here. And I'm just here just to provide an ear and just to listen and just always to refer the people back to themselves, because that's where their truths lie, right?
Absolutely. 100% well said, Raquel. Thank you for spreading conscious knowledge, because it is truly individual self-exploration. And you're right. I don't try to give anyone their own answer or try to put them on a path that they don't need to be on. We just hold the light for them. That's why I like to call us forever students. And I like to facilitate things, because a facilitator is not just a teacher, but a student, because we all learn from each other, because we all have our unique skill sets. And that's where we all need to come together and be one. Strength in numbers, you know, vibe attracts tribe. And this is very crucial right now. There's a lot of fakeness going on, even in the spiritual community. I see it. Fallen angels, they're trying real hard to knock us down. Other spiritualists are attacking others. This is not right. This is not what it's meant to be. And, you know, it's not about a competition. You know, it's about helping each other right now. You know, being that ascended pioneer, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Unity, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love this.
It kind of reminds me of an old, you know, the song "Stairway to Heaven" by Led Zeppelin. There's a quote in there that says, "When we're one and one is all, we become a rock and not a roll." And it's so true. You know, it's so true. A lot of wisdom in that song for all the good, you know, most people just know it for the guitar playing, and they probably don't know any of the words, but it really is about that. I mean, and not about us all being one brainwashed sheep herd of things, us all being individuals, but respecting our individuality and, you know, taking what we can learn from each other. You know, I mean, you know, what do you think, Rack?
And honoring and respecting, you know, the experiences, the views, even, you know, I don't want to say like I do see some behavior that's totally uncalled for. I do see some, and not as much now, but I've encountered a lot of people like, oh shit, in the big Pleiadians group, like that was harsh. Like a lot of people who are right out there in the community, and they're, you know, making all these long posts, and they were all love, and yet they were picking on me. And
this you took an ass kicking.
Oh, this meanness and this anger and even hatred I've had from people. But those people, really, those people have taught me so much. Like I am so in my power now. Now it's like they don't even come near me. They can't. But at the time, I was just kind of recently awake, and I was still learning, you know, to stand in my power. I was still learning to be able to establish boundaries and to really honor myself. And honoring yourself does mean establishing very healthy boundaries. And you can love people and you can accept people, but quite often with certain people, you love them from a distance, because there are just certain things that you just cannot allow in your world anymore. And it's like, you know what, if you're still holding on to this lower stuff, if you're still lashing out, well, you know, you do your shit. You work on your shit. I'll work on mine. And when the vibes come up, if they're compatible with mine, I don't hold grudges. So if they're compatible with mine, great. But yeah, being love, you will have people that don't know how to take you. They'll either be intimidated by you, or they will be angry with you because you have something that they don't. And so they lash out, like the darkness will lash out against the light. But really, it's just about not allowing that anymore. And you can observe and you can see it, and you can have compassion for those people because you can see very clearly why they're acting the way they are. But at the same time, it's all a process, and it's all the transmutation of the dark that we have to do, or like the shadow work that we have to do. So there's still people that are doing this shadow work, but they're not handling, well, they're still in the shadow and not doing as much of the work, or they're doing it very slowly. I don't know. I just think that it's really important, especially now, to stand in your power and just hold that light and just hold it. And you can't let anyone else bring you down, because people will try. But at this point, it's like we've been there, but with these people. So now we stand in our power and we just shine the light. That's what we do.
Exactly. Been there, done that. That's why you've always got to watch stuff. There was an incident you and I were talking about. We won't get into a few, month or so back, and I was like, these kind of people can be the least problem of anything at all. But if you slip, they can be your worst nightmare just by shit that they want to pull because they're not comfortable with your level. Maybe they're jealous. They're not ready. They're not accepting of you and don't know how to take you. And it took me a long time to get that. It took me a long time to realize that I wasn't stepping into well, for instance, like if I had a really huge, like fucking wanted to see people ego, I could be like a guru or some kind of a person that gets all these people to follow me, like other people's names that we've adminned in the past that we won't mention before. A couple of guys I'm thinking of that I won't mention, but you know what I mean, Raquel, we're not, because people like you and I and Jeff, we're not going to get people just to fucking follow us because of that, because we're not into just having people follow us. Do you know what I mean? A guy named Drew Mullen,
I know personally,
talked about that well, that he was a spiritual teacher, and he was always worried that his students were going to get hung up on him instead of the message. And, it can be an issue.
Also having no agenda, like it's very, like, see, the where we're at now, and sorry, I'm just taking my vitamins, turmeric and magnesium. Where we're at now, these energies, like everything is becoming so transparent. So we feel, okay, if someone has an agenda, if it's ego based, if it's fake, they're trying to fake this, you can't fake it anymore. It's transparency. You're seen, you are felt, your thoughts are heard. Now, for people that are still hiding, that's scary. For people that have done the work, are doing the work, that is so comforting. But it's transparency. So really, if someone's pretending to be love and light, but they're still ego and they're still trying to bring people down, well, everything is seen. Everyone is seen. So there's no hiding anything anymore. You're basically just trying to bullshit yourself.
Exactly. I agree 100%. The veil is lifted. It is gone. Everyone is coming into their truth. I definitely understand the chaotic energy. Past 72 hours, I've had more people contact me. And we're talking like very known people as far as healers and shop owners, blah, blah, blah. But it's pretty ironic because, well, nothing's ironic. They're being attacked by entities. I've taken a couple of negative entities off of people recently. I've dealt with psychic attacks to help others recently. I had to do some candle work for someone, which is something else that I do. I do a lot of heavy candle work. Love my candles, like my crystals. So these energies, and we are the eye of the storm. Um, do you feel that as well, Raquel? Have you felt us being very balanced and grounded, yet the chaotic energy? It's like
I
more candlelight.
usually I feel that as a physical pressure, as a squeeze. When the collective seems to be going a bit nuts with big things like especially the moons, and people are, is, you know, our Mercury retrograde, solar flares, when people seem to be kind of losing their shit, I seem to be able to be pretty emotional. My emotions and my mental, everything is stable, but I feel it physically. So it's like I'm this physical transducer, what, I don't know what the word is, but so this stuff is being filled. This stuff from the collective is being filtered through me physically, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of physical work. It takes a lot of solitude and just 24 hours working it through and anchoring the light, holding it within myself, and then it just goes out to the grids and to everywhere else. So that's how I experience this kind of chaotic energy, is through the physical, feeling like I'm going to be crushed to death. But yeah, so that's how I work it through.
Yeah, I totally feel you. I feel it heavy from the collective through my throat and my heart. And it's usually when the collective is, well, by me here in Arizona, around the hours of 4 to 7, really hit me hard, especially around the 555. And as far as, I mean, we want to talk angel numbers. I mean, just prior to this show tonight, I was walking to the store grabbing candles, and along the whole, both sides, all I saw was 1111 and 111. And to me, those are very powerful manifesting and twin flame numbers. I don't know if we want to go into that conversation.
Well, I'd like to go there a little bit. I'm kind of different. I see 23, mainly 123, but the parallels with 23 in my life are just, they're not even believable if I could write them all down. And mostly it's with 123, but it's with all the numbers in 23. And yes, I see the 444s, 555, a lot of 1111s, a lot of 111s, all those numbers too. But I've had this thing with 23. And especially after I awoke and I started getting prescription numbers every time with 23 on it, a new phone number with 23, the grocery store totals with 23, and the 1313, both in one day. And then the show I did with Raquel before last, I had that happen again. I went to the store twice and had a 23 and a 1313. Of course, these are 4 years apart, these scenarios, but these numbers, you know, and then people ask, well, do you think maybe it's just in your head and you're noticing it more? No, it's definitely not in my fucking head, because it's other synchronicities too, right? And I wanted to ask you this too, Jeff, too. I forgot to ask you this earlier. I'm sure I've asked Raquel a million times, and maybe I know, but when I first awoken, my biggest problem was I couldn't shut my mouth about how excited I was. And I thought that, Jesus, everybody else was seeing the things that I was starting to see in the sky and starting to realize and feel and think. And, you know, and then it was 2.5 years later before I could find any of these groups on Facebook. So it was, you know, I mean, I heard in 5D and listened to people that I finally eventually got to meet and work for, like Greg Prescott and people like that. But I mean, you know, that's all I had nobody else to talk to, you know what I mean? And I was so excited about it. And, you know, I just wonder if that makes any sense. I mean, like, people are like, you know, you're like, don't you see it? Don't you see it? No, they don't, you know.
Oh, I completely understand the things that I still see in the sky. It never ceases to amaze me anymore. 2016, the summer, actually, this time, 2016, I met someone and it was purely magic. And we lived 5D. I mean, it was unreal. and I, she just couldn't take the light, and she didn't like the feeling or whatever. But besides all that, the things that I was seeing leading up to crossing paths with her, it was unreal. Like I would see souls playing, uh, all sorts of light ships, breaking the matrix at dusk in the middle of the night. Like I would see all sorts of zigzags of light that, you know, you don't really, they're not normal. Let's put it that way.
Well, let me put it to you this way, and this is, Raquel probably gets sick of hearing me say this, but this goes out to everybody in the world. If everybody in the world was listening, look, it's either one or two things. If we're all full of shit and there's no such thing as other dimensions or extraterrestrials, then you got an even bigger issue on your hand, because then that would mean that you have a planetary government that's 1,000 years ahead of us in every single way possible you could ever imagine, which is not the case. There are ETs and other dimensions out there, but it's that clear. I mean, it's up there. It's out there. What's doing it? And if it's not an ET doing it, wouldn't you be fucking even more tripped out that your government's doing it? But you could show people sometimes, even as it's happening, if they're not ready to see it, it'll kind of mess with them and they don't want to see it, or they'll get angry about it and they'll just screw with their growth path and yours as well. But yeah, it's the only one in a quintillion fucking other thing it could possibly be is that the government is 1,000 or 2,000 years ahead of us. And I know, I'm just saying, there's shit we don't know about. There's technologies here that are within hundreds and hundreds of years past what we can even comprehend here now.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I mean, just utilizing the Merkaba in itself, and us being able to travel to these multiple dimensions is a beautiful thing. And there's a whole reason why the top peaks of the pyramids are the way they are. It's the Trinity. I call it the Trinity, and the divine Trinity. That's why 3 is such a powerful number, a holy number. And, you know, we can go talk all night about numbers and stuff.
A magic number, you might say.
Yeah, well, just like 13, and, you know, Raquel mentioned 33 earlier, the 33 vertebrae for the Kundalini. Well, it's a master number 33, and she's absolutely correct.
Also, the 33rd dimension is the dimension of the pure angelics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I first connected with Metatron, there was a lot that was kind of revealed very quickly that I didn't remember, and it suddenly remembered. Metatron was actually who suggested I carry. Why did I just? Oh my God! I just drew a blank.
Metatron.
Yeah, no, Metatron was who suggested and I'm holding the stone malachite. Metatron suggested malachite to me. So for like 3 years, I had a piece of malachite with me all the time, and I would actually suck the pattern and the color from it, and it would go like pale. But yeah, because for the physical that I was going through, but. Where was I going? I just totally drew a blank. But anyway, someone else carry on. I'm somewhere else right now. I gotta get back here.
My dealings with Metatron have been, you know, when I've dealt with the Lyran orbs before, I've seen Metatron with him a few times, but when he comes, he's in a tie-dyed. He happens to be not a mixed color or just one solid color. He's in like a tie-dyed rainbow color. You know, when I've dealt with him, then it's more of a telepathy thing like that. It's more of a conscious telepathy, you know, and everybody has their own way of dealing with their guides. Some people do it through deep meditation, astral traveling, even, you know, deep channeling. Sometimes it's just instant channeling. It's like an author, like when Eric Von Daniken was talking about writing Chariots of the Gods, he just said that, oh my God, he couldn't believe he just wrote this whole thing. It was like it was just channeled to him. you know, but yet he was awake doing it. So it just, you know, it really does all depend. And I think with crystals, here's the deal. I've always thought that, well, I think this is true. I think that about if you had 150 foot crystal, about 8 or 10 of them centered around the planet, stabilized, I think it would be enough power. There could be enough power harnessed to keep everybody, you know, energy sufficient as far as their house goes. That's just how I think they did it in Atlantis and Lemuria before the two got into their last nuclear war. You know, I think, but you know, then again, that's a lot of money for corporate control. You know, I'm not going to get into the corporate control bullshit, but it's a lot of money to lose. Once free energy is available, I mean, there you go. You know, I mean, almost. I mean,
why do we love crystals so much? Because we are crystals. Because we're becoming crystals. Because this whole planet is becoming a crystal, one giant crystal.
Crystal beans.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% well said, Raquel. And jumping back to Metatron, Metatron is known as the cosmic joker. He's Archangel Michael's best friend.
Makes sense.
And if you really want to know a little bit of, I'm sure you guys know this, Metatron and Sandophone are the only two archangels that have walked on Earth and ascended directly to archangels. Do you know why?
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Do you want to know why? And they're also brothers, by the way.
Oh.
Sandophone and Metatron end in ON, right? Every other archangel ends in EL. Get it?
Yeah.
That's why. And all the archangels, if you notice, the EL begins with Elohim. EL.
Yeah. And the last two letters of my name?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why you connect so well with Metatron. And you know, Metatron is a scribe of the Akashic records, and he uses the violet flame, just like Saint Germain does. So we are able to.
That's very cool.
Yeah, there's many things that, you know, we need to spread conscious knowledge, and
We'd have been executed in the Middle Ages, Jeff. I mean, talking about Cataron, cruel candles, crystals, but they would have really thought we were from some evil place. I mean, these are all cool things, but there are still people today that would come into a house and see crystals and candles, you know, and you know, and be like, oh, that's evil. And there really are people that are like that. I've got a good friend whose mom helps run a church, and she still thinks that way.
Yeah, but I think that's becoming fewer and farther between.
Oh,
because
totally.
So many people are waking up. I mean, people around me, like my family that I've reconnected with, just people that I'm meeting in public. Like, I mean, the conversations that I'm having with people, like going out to the store or just talking to someone passing by, it's not just, hey, you know, nice weather. It's actually these deeper, it's really, really awesome because, you know, like I went to the market and my total was 3333. And the girl said to me, wow, that's a good number. And I'm like, so we started talking a little bit. So I talked to people about crystals. I talked to people like just about all these different things, about the synchronistic numbers. It's really exciting when you go out and you can just these quick interactions, and they're no longer this shallow, you know, they're these actual substance and spiritual depth. And it's really exciting. I see it all the time. I guess maybe it's because that's what I'm putting out there. And so I'm kind of, you know,
Oh,
So,
I do too. You know, when Sif and I were in Eugene at the metaphysical shop, not nearly as cool as the one up by where you live, of course. This kid came out. He was only 23, and he got a crystal, and he was like showing me all this stuff in the sky. Dude, do you see that? Look at that. You know, the things that I did see and do see, and I was excited about 6 years ago. I'm like, yeah, look at that right there, and it was so exciting to see. No, my friend's mom is definitely few and far between, and you'd have to look under a rock to find her for sure. But you know, even people like that are kind of coming around. But you know, that's just kind of the stereotype that crystals and you know candles and well rock and roll, anything cool that used to have a stigma to it. But you know, thank gosh we're past those days. Almost.
I love crystals, candles. I mean, it's truly an amazing thing. And yes, Raquel, so many people are awakening around us, and that's what we need to do is just support and help them. I'm not going to mention any like stores or anything, but there's a whole team of where I go for coffee. They're putting their whole staff together for me to do a healing circle with because they're awakening themselves, and they're in their early 20s, and it's just an amazing thing to work with such a younger generation that is awakening because they are our future. And the way the system is now, it's destroying us. I mean, everybody is on their phones. They're distracted by the social media. Get off the phone. You know, interpersonal skills is where it's at. We need to live and be amongst each other to grow and to help each other. You know, I just see so much dysfunction because of these social devices. You know, I mean, why does a 5-year-old need an iPad? I mean, let's be for real.
Yeah, if you walk in a restaurant or anywhere and see a family sitting right, the only difference between now and 20 years ago that you would see through a lens would be that everybody would have this gadget in their hand and not be paying attention to each other and just be knee deep in the gadget. And sometimes they're texting the person sitting across from them that they're out to dinner with, even, you know, whether it's to the kids or whatever. But it's kind of strange. I was thinking that one time that'd be like the only difference I'd notice if I was in the 80s and they showed me a picture of a family at a restaurant in today's era. I'd be like, what in the hell? What is everybody doing? Why do they have these Star Trek type beat me up phones? You know, so yeah, it is kind of bizarre, and it looks ridiculous though when everybody's got them out and they're eating somewhere, supposed to be enjoying each other, you know.
And even with this new crystalline grid, you know, our new form of communication is telepathy. And I do connect with certain people across the world through telepathy. I'm not going to mention I'm not going to mention names, but just recently we have a dolphin exhibit here in Scottsdale. And through a vision, I connected with one of the dolphins, and this is very true. I sent them a message stating that I need to go and heal one of your dolphins. And the very next day, they posted on Instagram that their dolphin died.
Oh.
And of unknown sources. Well, I do know why, you know, and I feel if they just listened, and, you know, I'm probably going to get in a lot of trouble right now. I don't know.
No, the FCC has no bearing on this.
Well, I'm just saying there's somebody that might listen to this and take it, you know, to the next level. And I'm fine with it because I kept the proof. You know, I have the messages. So, you know, and dolphins are beautiful creatures. They are like literally one evolved from us, and
Yeah,
they
there's
rely.
two of brilliance from us for sure.
And they truly rely on telepathy and sonar. And that's, our connection with them is so close. It's unbelievable. Beautiful energy, too. I mean, dolphin energy is just, they're beautiful, beautiful creatures.
You can't get more beautiful than that, really. I mean, unless it's, your dog laying right next to you. You can't get amazing. Dolphins are amazing. I'll break down. I don't even want to get into the tuna hunting and the dolphins. Yeah, that just.
I shouldn't have even brought that up, but I
know you should have, man. People need to know these things.
I truly needed to get that off my chest. I needed to get that off my chest because I literally cried for 2 days. I mean, I was very hurt.
Well, yeah, man, it would hurt me the rest of my life. I mean, I can understand that, And if this bothers somebody, so be it. I mean, it's don't sweat it. If they've got a problem with it, that's their thing. And if they want to see proof, I mean, they're probably not even worth showing the proof too. But I've had count hundreds and hundreds of death threats and this and that over the years on these shows, and I know all the girls that have been on here too have had fucking weirdo guys relentlessly try to friend them on Facebook, and so it kind of goes with the territory. But if somebody's got a problem with what you just said about dolphins, I would question. I don't think that's somebody I'd want to really even be around.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. I was just smudging.
That's cool.
Smudge away.
Yeah, I was just smudging my area because I just felt I needed to. An energy shift just occurred around, and I'm not sure. So
maybe you released. Maybe it was a release from you.
Yeah, it could have been. My area, my place is really secure. It's a sacred space. Just a few weeks ago, I had a couple of neighbors that came by. We were all poolside in 110-degree Arizona weather. You imagine that?
No thanks.
And not even 5 minutes of two of the girls. One literally just started to break down, and I gave her a couple of crystals to hold, and she literally awakened within 5 minutes of walking through my door. It was a beautiful thing, and she was like, wow, I've never felt energy like this before. I said, you're okay. You're just releasing and, a higher vibration. And that's what it's all about. The challenges that we deal with on our own shadow work, that we fix within ourselves, or relearn, or lose, so to speak, that no longer serves our highest purpose for our individual missions. But to see another person actually be like, wow, and see them enlightened in that moment is just a beautiful, beautiful energy to be around. Does anybody agree with that?
I totally agree with it. When it's legit like that, yes. If it's somebody pestering me online that I know that they don't want to do the work and they just want me to answer 50,000 questions about different star systems for them, no. But when you see what you saw, and with that, when I saw that kid in Eugene, yes, there's really nothing like it at all. It's amazing.
It really is. And, like I said earlier, we're not, well, me personally, I don't want to speak for everyone in the spiritual community. I'm not here to change anyone. I just want to enlighten them. and I hold that lamp up in the light for them, like Raquel mentioned earlier. We're just here to hold the light up. It's for them to see what they choose to see because it's their path, it's their individuality. And that's really what it all stems from, is assisting each other. And I know I keep repeating that, but it's very, very important that we grow together spiritually because we're in a whole new paradigm, grid, however anyone wants to perceive it. We're in new energies. There's new entities that are out there that we're not used to. And I witnessed one the other day that, me and a colleague in India, I assisted her on an ascension last year. And that's another amazing story I should talk about some other time. But she scanned my apartment and she saw a new entity that's never been seen before. And I banished it immediately. But it's definitely observing because I've been assisting those on a level of bringing them to a higher consciousness. And you know how cause and effect is. The dark will retaliate. And I think that entity was just very curious and observing on who the hell I really was. You get that?
Yeah, no, totally. I do. It's doing a little bit of chin checking with you, trying to figure out who you were, what they could get away with from you. They're kind of cowardly, so they like to prey on people that don't know what their game is, and so they're trying to figure out your game. And you can have these entities, even if you have a lot of power, you can have these entities kind of at a distance, just kind of staying back, whereas people that really might not know what's going on, it's easy to fall subject to prey to these kind of things, and we all have to be careful at times, and and just be observant. That doesn't mean stress out all the time, but just be aware of your surroundings and aware of what you're doing and aware of these things. And and if you're seeing these, obviously, then yeah, you probably have a responsibility to help get rid of them at the time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if I could make a suggestion for everyone, at dusk, as sundown occurs, burn a black candle and put the intentions to dispel any negativity, any darkness, or anything that no longer serves you in the highest of good. And let that candle burn, and then burn a white one within 15 minutes for the balance. And it truly will dispel any negativity around you. And that's the first go-to suggestion that I give everyone in this chaotic energy. Burn a black candle at dusk with a white candle, black, white, yin, yang. Think about it. It makes sense. As above, so below, so within, so without. We're only bridges. That's all we are. We're just a bridge, but we're a bridge of that lightning. I like to say, be the willow tree with oak roots. Make sense?
Makes sense. Did you say to burn those at the same time or right after one another?
You could do it simultaneously. If you really want to kick the boost in, I would just let that black candle burn for about 15 minutes and then go right to the white candle. And I do that regularly, at least once or twice a week. But for the first time, you definitely want to do that right off the bat, and you probably want to do that every 7 days for the first moon cycle. New moon to full moon. Well, I would start at the full moon, which would be this Friday, by the way. the 27th, which is a super moon. It's very powerful.
Yeah, Monday's my birthday. Yay!
And on top of another eclipse. There's also another eclipse too. So,
oh boy.
Yeah. Gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be really crazy because this one that just passed with the new moon, you know, that was just like a baby step into the releasing of what no longer serves us.
Yeah.
And what we reap, we sow. Or what we sow, we reap. So this next eclipse full moon, boy, the sun's right behind it. So anything hidden, like Raquel, you were mentioning about how people are translucent now. Coming this Friday, shit, people better be ready because the towers are coming.
No more hiding, that's for sure.
Nope, absolutely not. Whether you're of love and light or you're not, period.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I guess I've got an exciting birthday weekend to look forward to then coming up. Oh, damn. I meant not this Monday. I meant the Monday after that. I would be is my birthday on August 1st. I'm a Leo. I like mentioning that, you know, because I'm proud to be a Leo.
Well, I'm a Leo rising. I'm a double Capricorn Leo rising.
Okay. Yeah, somebody thought I might have been a Leo with a Libra rising at one time because so many of the great friends I'd had around me in my life that have protected me at different times for Libras. So I don't know if that what kind of logic that made that they gave me as far as that goes at the time, but you know, I don't know. I know my fiance, my twin flame is a Taurus, so you know, should the bull and the lion. It should be a good thing.
Yeah, I think you guys are fine. You know, it's funny. You know, twin flames. It's a very tough journey, and it's not an easy one.
That name, by the way, we can't. We want everybody to know we run a big twin flame group and all that. We really don't like that name because it kind of a lot of people just throw it out there. Oh, where's my twin flame? Will I ever meet my twin flame?
Yet I know.
I feel sorry for people. It's like I catch myself and stop myself from getting and becoming a dick because it's like I feel for them because I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones. But then when I hear a million questions about am I going to meet him in my next lifetime? Are they on the etheric level? Well, all that could be possible, but hell, I don't know. And gosh, I wish you the best and wish you if that's what you want, you meet him in that lifetime. But chances are when you will meet him, it'll be the time you're kind of just getting relaxed, being by yourself and doing that. And then out of the blue, you'll meet your twin flame. It isn't usually people don't go looking for them like a treasure chest of gold or the boogeyman under the bed and find one. It just it's rare, and then sometimes you don't know. Sometimes it gets close where it's like an 80% thing, and that's kind of like a soulmate where you have like that 80% click with somebody. And I've had that with a few other people, but it wasn't like 100% like this. So
as long as you're not like announcing your twin flame relationship every 3 months with a different person.
Right.
Yeah. Have you noticed that? Do we have that on?
Sometimes that happens.
I should know, but
sometimes that happens. I mean, because I think it's also you realize because when there's certain people that you're on the same frequency at the same time. With me, it's only happened with men because that's my sexual preference. So I think that when we feel these really strong connections, it's the body and the human thinks of it as a sexual connection because it gets all the chakras firing. So if you're not working on, and if you haven't quite mastered your lower chakras, then that's what you're going to feel. It's going to be, oh my God, this person, this is how I feel. So they must be my, you know, label them your twin flame or whatever. So that person is stimulating or hitting you in these chakras. So the human picks up this or labels this as a sexual thing. When in actual fact, when you start controlling your chakras and move higher and higher up in your chakras, and you're up in your kind of your higher heart, then you realize that this is not, you kind of see things for what they are. So this obsession with certain people. So, you know, some people have these like unhealthy obsessions with other people. I think they're kind of putting off doing their own work, but they get totally obsessed with certain people, and it's a sexual thing for them. But for the soul, it's not. If you just kind of let this energy come through and move it up throughout your body to your higher chakras and go from your heart, then you're not going to be thinking you've met your twin flame every 2 months or whatever, because you're going to recognize, wait a minute, this person's energy is totally compatible with mine. We're on the same frequency. Maybe we've spent past lives together. That doesn't mean that we're twin flames. That could just mean that you're meeting you know, member of your soul family or whatever. The human's just mistaking it for sexual passion or whatever, when it's actually moved that energy up, and now it's a heart soul thing, not a human sexual thing. I'm rambling.
Well, no, it kind of worries me, Raquel, though, not that you're rambling, because what you said was great, but it makes me think that maybe we better start checking the IDs of these people. Are we getting high school kids in these groups that are writing in books? Oh, the high school kids are too smart for this now, but I love so-and-so forever in a relationship that lasts, you know, till the end of the week. Like Bobby loves Becky Sue forever and ever, like written in a school book. At least that's how we would do it here in America back in the day. You might see that. I don't know. Jeff probably have seen an old textbook before with some shit written in there like that, you know, but they were, you know, but Becky Sue and Bobby were probably only together like a week or 2 weeks, but, you know, they loved each other forever, and that was their... It's almost kind of reminds me that at times, you know,
but those experiences are necessary to get you prepared and ready to master your own energy and to learn, so that you can recognize, you could have a deeper recognition, a deeper understanding of these connections when you move forward, right? Like all of our experiences, like maybe people treating us like shit. We needed to be bullied like that so we could stand in our own power. That's what it took for us. So to obviously finally establish boundaries. If we didn't have people pushing us at one point or another, we wouldn't be able to stand in our power. So if we didn't have these obsessions or these, you know, oh my God, this is my twin flame forever. You know, if we didn't have these experiences and then have it not be what we thought it was, you know, we wouldn't be learning and growing and moving forward and have it, you know, that's how we have a deeper understanding, and that's how we grow, is through all these things. And I can just say that just over the past, like, you know, few years, people that have been with me since the beginning, there has been like the growth is just phenomenal. Like it just so much in such a short amount of time. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to be able to recognize that in yourself, and even more awesome when you're, you know, your family that you've been, your awakened family, your soul family that you've been connected with. You've seen everyone grow and evolve so much. It's such a beautiful thing to watch this transformation of the people you love as well.
That's why I quit bitching about Facebook and all this other crap, because none of us would have ever met. I don't care what anybody thinks about Zuckerberg or that company. None of us would have ever met Raquel. We would have never met Sith, and I would have never met so many people. We would have never met Jeff, Bridget. There are a million people. I mean, you know, you got 5,000 people on your friends list. I got probably 4. I mean, whatever. Not to say who's got what, but I mean, I'm just saying, none of these connections would have ever taken place in mid and even late 1990s America. Okay, well, maybe late 1990s on dial-up with a fucking goddamn Yahoo chat, but you know what I mean. None of this shit would have happened without, in the last 20 years ago, none of this shit would have happened ever. You would never meet. I would have never, ever even met you. I mean, all of us are so spread out usually, right? I mean, you might live in a big city like Vancouver and maybe run into somebody else that's a star seed that maybe met online, or maybe even not. London, whether it's fucking London or New York, or even then it seems to be kind of difficult for people unless you're Bridget and she's lucky and just is like engulfed in an area where there's a shitload of them because you got, several major cities within an hour of her. But short of that, we're all so far apart, and we never would have met. And I'm grateful for that. I'll always be grateful to Facebook for those things,
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I mean, I didn't mean to bash social media earlier. I agree.
No, I agreed where you were coming from there.
Yeah, I mean, if we never had this windows of the world, so to speak, none of us would have been meeting until this moment now, where we're able to, utilize the crystalline grid and connect through telepathy and through our vibration to connect in our oneness state.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, our oneness that is the allness, the source flow of everything that consciously goes.
Exactly, our wholeness. And I agree with you as far as that twin flame terminology. It's gotten out of control. I refer to it as more as the three, the divinity, Trinity, the pyramid, eternal flame, because people do talk about the twin flame. Well,
and you don't mean the old Dangle song either, Eternal Flame. Yeah, I know you mean
right, exactly. We're creators and destroyers, but we're mirrors to each other for spiritual growth. Mm-hmm. And you're very lucky if you end up with your true twin flame on a true balanced state. And these energies are and have been for years, since the first wave. They are bringing them together, even currently, even stronger, being part of the 144. If we want to go that route, which is a very small drip in the ocean. Right? Would everyone agree with that? The 144?
Yeah, I was trying to. Raquel came on for a second, though, and it sounded like a mutated voice. Raquel, were you saying something?
It's Ariel.
It's Ariel freaking out. She's whipping. She's a little chihuahua in her.
Oh. I thought maybe your son Jevin was over there again and wanted to have another hockey rematch.
No.
Okay. That's good because I don't ice skate.
He's channeling. He's channeling for us.
She's channeling a demon. Quick, Jeff, come exercise her.
Yeah,
little chihuahua demon.
Ariel.
No, the demon really only comes out either when she's playing with her bed every once in a while, or if the garden hose is out. Then it's like full out demon. Other than that, she's just an angel for the rest of the time.
Good God, don't let Pat Robertson know that. He'll never,
never
allow anybody to water a garden again.
Okay, well, I think we should probably, have we covered?
I think we should probably wrap it up.
I think so.
I think that we've only touched about a quarter of the material we could probably go through Jeff with, and we'll have to have him on again. Definitely. because it takes a long time to get these together. It took all of 10 minutes to put together. So,
Right.
but listen, brother, before we go, I'm going to give it to you first. One thing. Is there any last parting shots you'd like to say to the people out there? And is there anything you'd like to tell them about where they can find you on Facebook, whether it's your timeline, different groups, anything you want to let people know about what you do or offer? Flow with it, man.
Well, I'd like to first off thank you, Larry and Raquel, for having me on. You mentioned my name, Jeffrey Carroll, on Facebook. I also have Energy Rocks Healing Grid Project on Facebook page as well. You can find me there, and that's for all the healers around the world. Come and check us out there. And Instagram is under Energy Rocks. Again, magical blessings to everyone. And you guys are going to have, everyone is going to have a magical gift from spirits as they dream tonight. This I promise.
Good. I won't take my Lyrica then, so I can dream. Okay. I mean, really, Raquel, what do you got to say, girl? I know that we go through this every time, but you just hit it.
I want to thank you so much, Jeffrey. This has been awesome. The energy is I love you. I honor you. And yeah, it's been really great. Just taking it to this kind of next level, and all the three of us talking. This has been great. And yeah, I'm in a couple groups. Some of one. Actually, I'm in probably too many groups, and Larry would have to tell you all the groups.
None I put her in, by the way.
Yeah.
Only
so yeah, I'm basically some of one, Canadian, Pleiadian, whatever other groups Larry has added me to without my knowledge. Love you anyway. I forgive you. And recently, actually, I've been posting in a group called Freedom Objective. And I'm just really liking the energy there. I'm actually really loving the energy there. So, and besides that, yeah, that's about it.
Well, of course, as always, yours truly, Rocken, Larry Locken. You can find on my timeline Larry Locken. There's only 2 Larry Lockens on Facebook. One is a blanked out face. That's my dad because he's too lazy to put a picture on. But you can see me standing next to the love of my life. I got a full cue in my hand, and she's got a full cue in her hand. Sith Gunner's daughter, and Sith's been listening in. She's in the room with us right now. She's been in the room most of the time listening. Our producer. You can find me basically I'll make it real quick, okay? Because I like, I have like 20 pages, 40 groups on Facebook. You can go to one page called Pleiadian Groups and Pages. Not the group by that name. Yes, that's my group too, but I don't do anything with that. The pages will give you, if you scroll slowly down the list, I'll show you all our pages, all our channels. Our 2 YouTube channels, Pleiadian Light Grid Project, Pleiadian Express Productions, where you can find us on Twitter, and all that stuff. And of course, I give a shout out to my, sometimes you're in this world and you got to be of this world too. So give a shout out to my 3D show that I do with my partner Kenny Jackson. What's Your Opinion show? He's got a big channel called Opinion But Facts. But me and Kenny, we break down a lot of social issues that people need to, address and confront and hear about before we move on. A lot kind of like what we talked about tonight. A lot of these things people need to, be familiar with, and we kind of have a raw way of doing it, but we do what we do there, and we do what we do here. And I say the same thing on that show, that I do what I do here, and I do what I do there. So with all that being said, also, I'd like to, as usual, give everybody a big cosmic dating game kiss. Mwah. And that's a wrap from wherever you may be at this point.